Hi guys, it's Emily here from Yellow Tuxedo. I hope you're well. Today we're bringing you a slightly different video to normal, all about using Zoom with your children during another lockdown. If you like what you see, do feel free to give us a little thumbs up, and of course do feel free to subscribe to our channel too. It's always appreciated, and feel free to share this video with anyone who might feel it is of use to them. Okay, so why we're doing this video for you today. As a parent, we have 3 children, 2 of which are at school age. We have started the Zoom schooling. We know how stressful it can be. 25 small humans all rushing towards Zoom as a platform. Everyone talking over each other, getting very excited. It's all very novel for everyone and it's really overwhelming. So I thought I'd do a little walk around to show you some of the key features of Zoom to make your life easier, especially over the next 6 weeks or so, and also how to make sure that you are using the features properly so that you can understand what the teacher is saying to you in class. We're going to start right now by showing you what to do as you log into the meeting. So when you come to the app like this, hitting on join, and then you'll be faced with the join meeting button. So adding your meeting ID, number 1, that's the simplest thing to do. But also that I would encourage you, if possible, to put the name of your child rather than yourself. So I'm going to put Ben on here. That's because obviously the teacher may have 25, 30 children in that room. You may have different surname setups in your family, and it's really difficult for people to understand who's coming in and out of the room. And for your security, really, it's really good that if the teacher knows who's on their roster, who they can bring in and out of the room. So make sure you put your child's name there first. Then you're going to hit on join. Now this is the waiting room where you will be waiting to be admitted into the Zoom room. This is a really good spot here. Sometimes the teacher may send you a message through here to say, can you make sure you change your name of your child there? I'm running 5 minutes late, just hold fire. So it's a good thing to make sure you're looking at this screen a few minutes before and after when the meeting is actually scheduled to start. The next thing I would say you can do whilst you're here before you're going into the room is to test your computer audio. One of the things we've found over the last couple of sessions that we've been in is that obviously your children are wearing headphones, they're wearing they might have an external microphone attached to your computer or your phone, and sometimes they're not completely connected. So when they're speaking, their microphone is switched from mute onto normal speaking, but actually they're still not being picked up. And sometimes it's because the microphone hasn't actually been connected to the system properly. So on this screen, in the settings, when you've gone into there, you can see the audio button on the left-hand side. And as you can see, I'm speaking right now using our Rode mic right now, and that's connected to the computer. As I'm talking, you can see that the bars are going up and down depending on my voice level. So that's connected right now. So just clicking on this downward arrow here, you can see if it's the same system. So if you're using the inbuilt microphone on your system, or you're using external microphone or headphones, it's just good to check here. And the same will go for the output as well, making sure that it's coming out of the computer or your phone or into the headphones that you might be using for your child. But as you come into the room, there are a couple of things I'm going to quickly show you the best practice for coming into a Zoom room. Number 1, making sure that you are on tile view. So if you go to the top hand side where it says view, you can have gallery or you can have speaker view. Speaker view would let the main person who's speaking come into the forefront and everyone else will be smaller. But the gallery view will allow you to see that tiled effect to make sure that you can see everyone who's in the room. Again, in a learning environment, that's really good to start seeing everyone's faces, to get reactions from people when they're being asked a question and that kind of thing. But the very first thing that you are going to do as parents and encouraging your children to do so as you come into the room is coming along to here and hitting the mute button. And making sure that the red line goes straight across the mute button, make sure that you are on mute. Now, we've all done it. We've all been into Zoom rooms with 25 very excitable, very happy, small human beings, all very excited to see their friends and family. All very excited to tell about Christmas and what they've done at home that day, or to share what they've done with the family that way. But it can be really, really, really overwhelming. And for the teacher who may only have 15, 20, 30 minutes to get some learning across, actually that takes a lot of time to kind of settle the room down. So making sure that you go straight to the mute button and clicking off onto the red line is a really, really good practice getting into the habit of, because let's face it, no one wants to hear what you're shouting at the other child behind in the other rooms doing, or talking about little Johnny over there. We just want to make sure that everything that is in your house stays in your house. So make sure that the mute button is firmly switched off. If you go onto the mute function there actually, and click the little arrow above, you can still see those speaker settings like we showed you in the waiting room. So if you are having issues with your sound quality, or you're not connected to the right headphones maybe, or your external mic or your inbuilt mic, just double check there as a bit of a troubleshoot there to make sure that you're connected to the right device. You can also change your name. So once you're into the Zoom room, if you need to change your name, again, changing it to your child's name is preferable. You can go to the 3 dots there on your face and you can hit the rename button there and you can name whatever you need it to be. Moving along, actually another quick tip for you guys is obviously you don't always want to be micromanaging your child as they're on their Zoom call with their teacher, and you may get might be quite laborious to have to toggle around to make sure that you can unmute your child if they're asked a question. And obviously there are 2 ways that you can do that. So yes, absolutely, you can toggle the mouse and you can hit the blue mute button on the top right hand corner of your picture. But if you have a child who's a little bit less PC literate, and they need to be able to unmute themselves by themselves, a really good way of doing that is, if they're using a desktop version, is to hit the space bar. If they hold down the space bar and speak, that unmutes them for that temporary couple of sentences, and then when they finish speaking, they can just release their finger and they go back into mute. It's a really simple way of doing it without having to worry about toggling the mouse. And the next thing is stop video. So yes, we all don't always want to show you, we might still be our PJs, let's face it, I have been several times this week. We may not want to show what's going on our back screen, but ultimately your teacher will benefit from seeing your child's face. So as much as possible, make sure the camera is switched on. But if you really need to, if there's a fire over there and your 3-year-old's running around without a nappy, absolutely, that is the button in which we stop video. Moving along to the bottom icons on your screen, so security and participants isn't relevant to you as the participant itself, but the chat function really is, and chat function is really, really handy to help you have that conversation as the lesson's going on, to ask questions if you need to, without having to necessarily unmute yourself and speak all of the time. So you can use the chat function to ask questions, ask how everyone's doing, to give responses to questions that are being directly asked by the teacher. You can also use this file function here, so if you've been doing any home learning, if you've done some typing maybe, or you've done a bit of a maths piece of work and you want to share that with your teacher, you can upload it using the file function there, and that will sit in the chat for them to look. Again, if you want to share a web page, that's exactly the place where you should do that there. Keep it into the chat. You may want to have a conversation with everybody, or you may have some conversation that is a bit more sensitive that you don't want to share with the entire group, so that's absolutely fine too. If you hit the blue button where it says everyone, and you hit down on that, you'll have a list there of all of the participants in the room. So if you just want to send a private message to the teacher or the TA or someone else within the group, that's the place to do it. That can start a private chat there. But do be warned, if you want to then go back to a group chat, you will have to make sure that you change it back to everyone as you carry on speaking within the chat function. Polling is another one. Polling is really clever. You will see there, if the teacher has decided to set a poll, they will launch this within the browser like this, and it may have some pop quiz questions. It might have some trying to gauge some responses for some stuff within their learning, might be like geography or history. And all you'll need to do, as the questions pop up, you can just select the answers that seem fitting, and they'll give you the overall percentage results at the end of that, if you choose to use that within your classes. I'm next going to show you the share screen function, because again, it's relevant to you as parents, helping your children to get the very best out of their Zoom classes. Sometimes the teacher may want to share their screen, and they can share what's on their PowerPoint potentially, but they also might want to be a bit more interactive, and they may use what's called the whiteboard function. I've just used this as a demonstration. So your teacher can use the whiteboard function, and they can draw on it, and they can write on it, and they can scribe on it. But the great thing with this is it's a two-way street as well. So if they ask, I don't know, Annabelle or Louis, whoever, to go, can you come and answer this sum for me? Your child can then also come on and use the trackpad and use it like the draw function on any other PC, and use that to interact that way. So that's a really clever way of getting an interactive two-way conversation and learning there using the screen. And then a few other things to show you. Breakout rooms may not be relevant to you in this kind of situation, but reactions certainly will. Again, in an environment where we're trying to encourage calm and considered learning without everyone having to talk over each other, sometimes you may want to get the teacher's attention. That's a really easy way of doing that, is to hit on the reactions button and use the raise hand function. And all that's going to do is put a little hand in the air in the top corner of your screen, and that will give let the teacher know that you want to ask a question or want to add a point to it. Once that question has been answered, and once you've finished raising your hand, you can go to the top 3 dots and simply lower your hand, and it goes back to normal. And then on reactions as well, you can also see that there is a hand clap, there's a thumbs up, there's lots of different emojis to also show your response to things that are going on in the room. It might be someone's birthday, it might be that someone's just done a really good bit of work they want to share, and you want to show that you're happy with them, and so you can use the emojis there to help you show that and get that across without having to necessarily speak. I hope you find that useful. Again, this is a really strange time for everybody. Online learning for small people, it It is hard. Again, we have 2 small children at home doing exactly what we're doing right now, and trust me, I know exactly where we're coming from, and it is complicated. So if you're not as tech savvy, I hope that's helped you get your head around some of the Zoom features. The main ones being, make sure that your child comes, that they can hear, you're putting yourself onto mute as soon as you enter the room, and that you can see what the teacher is asking you. If you have any questions at all about this and you want to ask anything a bit more detailed, do feel free to get in contact with us. We're always happy to help. You can email us at hello@yellowtuxedo.co.uk or to send us a message. We're always happy to help.